Okay, we wanted to talk about this Washington, D.C.
Hey, you know all about this.
Well, yeah, the Washington, D.C., they have like what is it, like a arboretum or a...
Arboretum.
Yeah, like a botanical garden type
an
place.
arboretum, yeah.
Okay. What is an arboretum?
It's a place where you go see trees and plants.
So it's a botanical garden,
Yeah.
basically.
Basically, I think an arboretum's more about trees.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess like Arbor Day is about
Yeah,
trees.
makes sense, right?
Okay, so the Chinese government, I think, when was it? 2017
I
or
believe.
16?
2017, I think
2017? Okay. Signed an agreement with like the local, like Washington, D.C. government or something there to make this beautiful Chinese garden.
Yes.
Okay. But the whole point was that the Chinese government would pay for it $100 million.
Yes.
Which, again, all these things they do. China's been receiving millions and billions of dollars in aid, financial
That's right.
aid. Why are they then taking that money to go and do these soft power things? Anyway, so the whole point was, hey, we're going to build this beautiful thing with a beautiful pagoda in there for you and everything like that. Turns out, I guess the FBI was like, nah.
So the FBI squashed this.
Yes,
right.
And the reason being that the pagoda was going to be built at the highest point in Washington, D.C. with
2 miles away from the Capitol building.
2 miles away from the Capitol building.
Yeah.
So it'd be the perfect place to spy from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, if you think this is unrealistic, they built this massive building in Africa, and it was called the Africa Forum Building or something.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. What country is that? Is it Uganda or something?
I can't remember the country. The exact details escape me. If you can look it up. But they built this beautiful building as a token of friendship to the African nations, and it was like the Africa Forum Building or something, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. So all the government people moved in.
Yeah, it was in 2018 that China gifted the African Union a headquarters building and then bugged it for state secrets. Yeah,
that's the thing. So they built this beautiful building, and all the government people moved in and to their offices, and they found listening devices and recording equipment. And,
Sorry, they built it in 2012, and then they figured it out in 2017.
Yeah. So for how many years, they were being spied on by the Chinese government
From
in
their
this
charity
free charity building that China built.
Yeah.
So this is not something that's far away from the realms of reality here.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to build this beautiful Chinese garden for you in your state capital, right near your, U.S. Capitol building and White House and whatnot, which is going to be within visual range, where we can then put telescopes and whatever hidden microwave microphones or laser mics or whatever the hell. Obviously, like it almost went through.
Yeah.
It almost went through. Imagine that. Imagine China building. And the other thing was that they were planning to bring in all the materials for the construction through diplomatic pouches.
Yep.
And you know what a diplomatic pouch is? It's when a country sends something to their embassy.
Yeah.
And the host country where the embassy is located is not allowed to inspect what's inside of those things because it's got diplomatic immunity or whatever. So in other words, they could send bugging devices and listening to whatever they want, high-tech junk in these diplomatic pouches, and the U.S. government wouldn't be able to inspect them, wouldn't know that they were there. Yeah. And then they would use those materials to build this garden.
Correct.
That's, pretty big.
It was Huawei equipment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, obviously...
Surprised. Yeah, I mean, what else is it going to be?
But it's not only that. I mean, this is about that, but also the fact that Huawei equipment has been put on towers, like towers in more rural America, near to military bases, because it's cheap, and they dumped it into the market. In other words, they sold it at loss. This is what China does a lot. In fact, in South Africa right now, there's a big thing about tires, because a lot of tires like Bridgestone and Continental are actually locally manufactured in South Africa. But China is now selling dumping tires. So dumping is a term. It doesn't mean like just throwing it there.
It's selling cheap.
Yeah. But they're selling tires in South Africa by not using legitimate channels, so not paying import taxes, not doing all this. For some or other reason they can do this. So there's no way that the local manufacturers can actually compete, because you pay, let's say, $200 for a tire, or you pay $10 for a tire. Which one are you going to choose, right? So, but they did that with Huawei equipment, subsidized by the Chinese government, making it impossible not to choose. Why would you pay $10,000 for a radio transmitter when you could pay $300? Okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, even that piece of equipment costs $10,000 to make. The Chinese government's like, we will pay for you to make it so you can sell it cheap to the US.
Did that with a bridge as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they did that with a bridge. We'll talk about that Croatian bridge at some point. But
it doesn't deserve to be talked about.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is, they made it so attractive to buy these cheap Huawei equipment, radio telecommunications equipment, and in all the rural parts of the Midwest, they put them on the towers. And they're capable of intercepting military, radio traffic and communications and so on.
What you want, right?
Yeah, so that's currently under the spotlight too. But just to show you how sneaky they've been with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And really, I think America dodged a real bullet with this free Chinese garden surveillance spy pagoda thing.
Guys, if you haven't figured it out yet, the Chinese government's acting like an enemy state.
It is acting like an enemy state. So
treat the government accordingly.
Yeah.
Stop accepting offers.
Stop having Confucius Institutes in your universities.
Yeah, they're just rebranding those, by the way.
Yeah, they're just calling them Chinese language associations and stuff. But yeah, the Chinese government is acting like an enemy, okay? Trying to infiltrate, trying to do all these kind of things, but in plain sight. They're very good at doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And if anyone ever points a finger and says, hey, this is not correct, they're like, oh, you're being racist or something, you know? Don't buy that crap. They are acting like an enemy. And we're talking about the Chinese government here, not the people, by the way.
People don't deserve this.
Yeah, no. We don't need this kind of crap going on under our noses in plain sight. You know what I mean? Do your espionage stuff. If you're going to do it. But, stop using, public taxpayers' money and stuff to do it. Stop figuring out ways to abuse trust to do it.
Yeah, agreed.